I've got quite the collection of fight sticks and fight pads. I do enjoy covering them, but there's one that's really caught my eye because it's different than the rest. It's more ergonomic. It's got micro switches, and it works on two platforms that I play fighting games on the most. What am I talking about? The RAZER RAION for PlayStation 4, also works with PlayStation 5, and also works with PC. The platforms I play on. Let's get into it. Before we kick this video off, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Razer for sending out the RAZER RAION for PlayStation 4. Again, this is a controller that's ergonomic. It has micro switches in the D-pad, micro switches for the buttons as well, and very versatile overall as a controller, and I'm really excited to dive into this. I've covered so many different fight pads and fight sticks on this channel, and you guys know I'm a Razer fanboy, so hey, when I got the opportunity to cover this and they sent it out to me, I was like, hey, we're gonna work on this because we've been looking forward to it. But aside from all that, I'm Mekel Kasanova. I'm a Hawaii content creator. If you've gotten this far and you haven't already, you want to do me a solid, make sure you sub to the channel, hit the notification bell. That way you stay up to date on all the latest and greatest content that comes from this channel. So in this video, we're going to do an unboxing, setup, try it out on a couple of different games, and then I'm going to give you my overall impressions of the fit and feel of it, and compare it to a couple other controllers. So if you're ready, let's get into it. This right here is definitely going to be something that I'm diving, or I'm looking to dive into. I've heard a lot about this. My friend Nihongo Gamer actually did a review on it, and I believe he liked it. So it's got the Mecha Tactile 8-way D-pad, which is actually going to be excellent for games like King of Fighters and such. It's got touchpad, dope. Most fight pads don't have touchpads for whatever reason. Well, some do. I know some of the Mad Catz ones did, and one or two others, but not a lot. It's not widespread. And it's got the traditional 6-button layouts that was popularized by the Sega Genesis 6-button controller and the Sega Saturn controller. Then we got Mark Julio on the back. He endorses it, so I mean that's pretty dope. So if you guys are ready, it's got different modes: competition mode, which locks out share, PlayStation button and whatnot, external inputs, mode, competition. 3.5 millimeter. Yeah, let's go ahead and let's dive into this and see how this all stacks up. Your boy is curious. Now, I'm wondering if this is going to be super minimalist like the Wolverine V2 was, but it seems like it will be. Thing. And instructions. And that's it. Wow. Razer, you guys have been very minimalist. This is very eco-friendly. We got the controller, and we got the instruction booklet with the Razer stickers and typical book and stuff that we can't read because of the lighting here, unless I put it at an angle, then you can see it. But we plucking file that to the side. This looks like either a 7 or 10 foot cable, and it's USB. Got the Razer branding on it, and it's built in, integrated into it. So this is a controller. This is what it feels like. On the back, you have a switch between PS4, and then you can switch it over to go to PC. So it's pretty dope. And then this is what it feels like in the hand. It actually, not used to fight pads feeling like this. This is pretty sturdy. This is going to take some getting used to. I'm not used to micro switches on the D-pad. but it kind of reminds me of the Neo Geo in a way. These are pretty shallow. Let's get this up a little bit. So these feel shallow. I'm not sure if I'm concerned about that or not, but I'm assuming that these are shallow for the simple fact that it's expected for you to use the face buttons here as opposed to these. But I don't know how I feel about these being as shallow. There's not much travel with them, but they seem to be micro switches, so there's, you know, it should be an instantaneous push. Then the D-pad, or the, not D-pad, the touchpad, clicky, smooth. Share options, micro switches as well. PlayStation button, mute, volume. All right, and then on the bottom we've got, you can select the Mekel 8-way direction pad, either D-pad, left stick, or right stick. You've got mic input, and you've also got this right here, the switch basically alternates the shoulder buttons. Okay, I'm gonna have to use this. I'm not sure how I really feel about, because this is lightweight. I'm not sure how I feel about the build quality overall. The only thing I can think of doing is I'm gonna have to test this with some, you know, Virtua Fighter, King of Fighter, Street Fighter, Guilty Gear, and the like, to see how I feel about this. Because this is, I don't know. I might have to take some time to get used to this. But yeah, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna plug this in, try it out on both PlayStation 5. Well, I had the PlayStation 5, I don't have the PlayStation 4 anymore. But I'm gonna try it out on the PlayStation 5, try with some fighting games, and we'll go from there. The only issue I'm running into is like when I press down, it's down back instead of just straight down. I think it's just because of the way the disc is.
Desk work just isn't my thing, you know? Looks like I can have a little fun now.
What's the new fate? We shall know.
Round one. Fight! I got it! Tornado! Sucker! I got it! Tornado!
They come out. Round one. Ready, go! Good job. Player one wins. Battle one. Fight. Stay down. Try this. Easy. Come on. Try this. Ria, how's this? Stay down. On one. Ready, go!
Good God. So what I definitely want to talk about when it comes to this controller is definitely how comfortable it is in the hands. Look, it is a fingerprint magnet. If you have sweats and oils on your hands, they will, as you can see here, they will show up on the product itself, on the controller. But it is incredibly comfortable in the hands. And if anything, the only thing I dislike about this so far is the way the L2, R2 buttons feel on the shoulders. They feel very, I don't know, very shallow. Actually, correction, the entire shoulder buttons, they all feel very shallow. But they are, just like everything else, they're, RAZER micro switches, but I just wish it had more, sometimes I feel like, am I really getting my input, or is it just, is it accurately depressing? It gets on my nerves sometimes, the way these buttons are. These are the main things I dislike about it. But yeah, the way it feels in the hand, incredibly comfortable. It's very grippy, as you can see here. Yeah, I smacked the phone, but as you can see here, you can look at the back. You have switches for, you can play it on PlayStation 4 or 5, and also switch it over to play it on PC, depending on however you want to do it. There's grip texture here on the sides, which are quite comfortable. On the bottom here, you got your 3.5mm input for your headset. You can switch for the D-pad to either operate as a D-pad, left stick, or right stick, depending on how you switch it from there. You can also switch the shoulder buttons to the opposite, being, instead of L1, R1, L2, R2, to being L3, L1, R3, L2. Why you would want that, no idea, but it's there. And then you've got your mute button and your, I believe this is what, volume, raise volume. So this is controlling your volume. And yeah, operates, it turns on when you plug in headphones to it. And then we got the PlayStation button, we got the share button, got the options. I like the placement of them, the touchpad being here and still depressible. Actually, it's pretty cool. Very well made. And the buttons, they feel like standard buttons. They don't have micro switches or anything in them, at least I don't think, but they're very responsive, very haptic, good feedback. No issues whatsoever with these buttons with inputs. It's just, I hate these on the top. Then there's the left, the digital pad, the D-pad is a floating disc. As you can see, it's slightly raised off of the controller. You can see from multiple angles. And it is a floating disc that has micro switches in it. Now the micro switches give you increased precision, so your precision for certain games. It didn't really help me in Street Fighter. Actually, I feel like this controller is not very well suited for Street Fighter, in my opinion, or I could just be trash. But for King of Fighters, for me pulling off of Kyo's chain punches, and for pulling off Rock's counters and Yori's chain punches as well, then this worked like a gem. Playing this with Soul Calibur, with Kilik and Maxi worked like a dream. And also playing some Virtua Fighter with my boy Jackie, I had no issues with inputs. I noticed when I was playing Street Fighter 5, and this only seemed to have happened when I was playing Street Fighter 5, was when I was pressing down, it was doing down back, which I don't know why. It kept doing that. But it was only in that game was it doing down back. Everything else I pressed down, left, right, up, diagonals, everything was precise input. Only in Street Fighter was it doing that. But I don't really play Street Fighter 5 anymore. I kind of gave up on that game. I know it's been coming back, but it's not my game. But overall, the micro switches in this D-pad, I really, really enjoy them. I think these are super, super, super solid. It feels really good in the hand. Now, as far as overall build quality of this controller, how does the Rayon feel? It is made of plastic, and in a way, from being honest and not trying to be disrespectful or anything, it does feel kind of cheap, especially if you were to compare it to the PlayStation 5 controller, which has a very premium feel to it. This feels like cheap plastic compared to that. There's just no two ways about it. This feels infinitely better as a controller. This feels like cheap plastic, but even though it feels like cheap plastic, it works like a dream. I can't complain about it. The only downsides to this controller is these buttons on the top. I was having difficulty when I was playing Street Fighter 5, trying to pull off my throws, and based off of how my button layout for Street Fighter is typically, now by default you go weak punch, medium punch, fierce punch, weak kick, strong kick, fierce kick. I switched this around with this being strong punch, this being fierce kick, this being weak punch. So technically these two would be my throw, or I can do this and this, and for whatever reason I couldn't get it to work. I felt like I had more travel to go with pressing X than with this, and I think that was what was throwing off, because I was throwing punches instead of grabbing, and I think it's because by the time I'm pressing this is already depressed. It's almost instantaneous, and I feel like if you're gonna have these buttons be so, shallow, then these should correspond to that same feeling. Overall though, I do think that it's nothing wrong with this controller whatsoever. If they do a revision or a revised unit, just change these out to be like these, or make everything like this, so it's like uniformity across the board. But overall, I have no complaints about it except for these. I think it's a solid controller. I think if you want to pick one of these up, you'll be incredibly satisfied. Street Fighter, maybe not so much, but for like Guilty Gear, King of Fighters, Virtua Fighter, Tekken, Soul Calibur, the traditional FGC games, sans Street Fighter 5, just because I hate that game, I think it would work perfectly fine for it. That's it. That's the video for the RAZER RAION from Razer. Again, shout out to Razer for sending this out to me. This is a really, really good controller. With the exception of the shoulder buttons, which I'm not that big of a fan of, I think the controller is overall really, really solid. I think it's worth the money, especially if you're looking for a premium. Well, it doesn't have a premium feel, but aesthetics aside, the premium nature of the layout of the controller and how it functions, the micro switches and the D-pad, which give you incredible precision, you just can't go wrong with this. This is probably the best fight pad on the market, and I'm happy that Razer has made this. I kind of wish they would make the Rayon for the Xbox, make for the Switch, because they've got fighting games on there too, and I would love to use it on those platforms. So what are your thoughts on the RAZER RAION? Do you have this controller? Do you like it? Do you love it? Are there alternatives that you prefer? Whatever your thoughts are, let's get the conversation going in the comment section down below. And if you want to take the conversation further, we do have Discord as well as Guilded. Links for those are in the description below. If you want to pick one of these up, I do have an Amazon affiliate link for it, so definitely check that out if you're in the market for getting it. And other than that, that's it. That's the video. So I'm Mekel Kasanova, Hawaii content creator, host of Hawaii's #1 podcast, the Kasanova Podcast. If you've gotten this far already and you haven't, make sure you sub to the channel. Ding the notification bell, that way you stay up to date on all the latest and greatest content that comes from this channel. With that being said, guys, I'm signing out. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Making it an aloha day, those are the really, really good ones. Anyways, I'll see you on the next one. Deuces, wow. Too sweet, be the elite. I'll see you when we come back again. Peace. Mahalo for making it to the end of the video. I really appreciate your support by those of you who like the videos, who watch and who subscribe. And for those of you who are my Patreon supporters, thank you for your continued support because you help make this possible. If you enjoy my work and you'd like to support what we do have Patreon on patreon.com/Mekel Kasanova. We also have Coffee as well as Subscribestar. So there's various methods if you want to support the work that we do here. We also have channel membership, so make sure you check that out. That way you get up to date on all the latest and greatest content that comes here and first, and exclusive content as well. And if you enjoy the work that I do and you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. So with that being said, I'm Mekel Kasanova, Hawaii content creator. I hope to see you on the next one. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button and ding the notification bell. And all that being said, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.